All right, good morning, my amazing class.
Good morning, my amazing teacher.
All right, what I need you to have out right now, which you already have it out, is your homework. We're going to go over writing inequalities, graphing inequalities, and dividing what? Fractions. Dividing what?
Fractions.
All right. When is that test going to be? Friday. We learned about this last week, and then dividing fractions was our first skill from the beginning of the year, and that is something that we're still struggling in. On benchmark 2, that was what? Below what? Below 50%, and we definitely need to be above 50%, correct? Okay. All right, so that's why we're going to keep on going over dividing fractions. All right, so starting off with these graphing inequalities. Which options best show negative 18 is greater or equal to x? Negative 18 is greater or equal to x. What is the first thing I told you could do to help you?
Get rid of the open circles.
Okay. Get rid of the open circles. Why?
Because there's a line under the
Okay. It's including that number, right? It's including that number. So I can get rid of the open circles. And that's called process of what?
elimination.
All right, so now I got a 50-50 chance to get this right. Then the next thing I told you is to do what? On the arrow. What can I put on my arrow?
The x.
X. What's that x called?
The variable.
Variable. That x is the variable. It's an unknown number. It can be many numbers. So negative 18 is greater or equal to x. That's saying negative 18 is greater. Instead of saying greater, we're going to say negative 18 should be on the right. Negative 18 should be on the right of what?
X.
X. Okay, so which one is showing negative 18 is to the right of x?
B.
B. Okay. Which option best shows x is greater or equal to negative 8? Which one can I get rid of?
A and C.
X is greater or equal to negative 8. What's a little bit different here?
It's saying x.
X is first now. The variable is first. So x is greater or equal to negative 8. Which one is showing x on the what side? Right side.
D.
D. Okay. 7. Which option best shows x is less than 3? What could I get rid of? B and D. X is less. Well, if it's x is less, what does less mean?
It's going to the left.
It's going to the left. So x is going to the left. Which one shows the arrows going to the left?
A.
And then which option best shows negative 13 is less than x?
You can get rid of B and D.
What next?
And it's 13 is less than x, so x should be going to the right.
Okay, negative 13 is less. So x should go to the right, but negative 13 should go to the left. So which one's showing negative 13 is going to the left?
C.
Okay, good job. All right. All right, and then our homework was on the back side as well, 8 through 13. This is writing inequalities, and how many ways could you write an inequality statement for one number line? 2 of them. One that's listed the variable first, and one that's listed the what? Number. So looking at 8, everybody is on 8. What is my variable and what is my number that I'm dealing with? Okay, so I'm first going to do x and 1, and then 1 and x. What is something I need to pay attention to on 8 and ask myself?
Is it an open or closed circle?
Okay, and what is it?
It's a closed.
So what is inequality going to include?
Greater than or equal to or less than or equal to.
That's right. Okay, so we'll have that line underneath that less than or greater than, and this is the first time that you're seeing this is less or equal or greater or equal. So this is your first time you're including equal with the inequality. All right, so looking at 8, that number line, what did I tell you you could do to help you put above these, to help you determine what's less and what's greater?
The arrows.
Okay, we could do the arrows, or we can write 1 is on the left and our variable x is on the right. And if we have less, that is left, and if we have right, that is Greater. Okay. So, also, look in here. X is what to 1? X is on the
Right.
right. X is on the what?
Right.
Right to 1. So what does that make X?
X is greater than or equal to 1.
That's right. And then now think about it as 1 written first. 1 is now on the left. So 1 is
Less than or equal to.
good job. Okay, now remember, we need to get the alligator mouse out of our head. Okay, because is the alligator mouse helping us here? No. Where do the inequality symbols come from? The end of our what? Okay, so you can always check here at the end of our number lines looking for our less than sign and our greater than sign. That's also there to help you. So moving quickly, let's get this done. Looking at 9, what's my variable and my number?
Negative 11 and X.
Okay, so we write them both ways. And I need to pay attention to, is it open or?
Close.
And is it?
Open.
It's open, all right. And I'm going to ask myself, X is to the left, so it's,
Less than.
and then negative 11 is to the,
Right.
so it's,
Greater than.
all right. 10 is my variable and my number.
Negative 12 and 12.
All right, open or closed?
Open.
Open. All right, so X is to the left, and negative 12 is going to be to the
Right.
all right, looking at 11, what's my variable and my number?
125 and X.
Open or closed?
Open.
All right, and X is going to the, and 125 is going to the,
Right.
and looking at 12, what's my numbers and my variable?
Negative 19 and X.
And then flip it around. Open or close?
Close.
So I need to go ahead and put that
Line under.
line underneath. That represents what? Equal to. Okay, so now X is going to the left of negative 19, and negative 19 is going to the
Right.
right. And my last one, 13, X and 140, and then 140 and X, open or closed? Open, and it says 140 is on the what? Left now, and our variable is on the right. So X is going to end up being greater than 140, and then 140 is going to be less than. And if we think about our arrows, they are telling you you're going to go infinity and beyond, because that variable could be multiple answers. Does it always have to be a whole number as your answer? No, it can be a what? Decimal. What else? Fractions. Okay, and our rational numbers. Get it? Got it? All right. Again, test on this on Friday. All right, get out your bell work, please. You can if you need to, okay? Thank you for asking. All right, so bell work is on dividing fractions. We're going to quickly go over this. This is a skill from the beginning of the year that we're still struggling with. So now, remember with dividing fractions with word problems, y'all do great with it when it's a level 1 problem. But when we get to word problems, what do they turn into? What levels? 2 and 3. Today, you are seeing level 3 problems. Now, these are actually 5th grade level 3 problems, okay? And we're going to build back up to our 6th grade. So let's look at our 5th grade level 3 problems. It says Scott bought 1/6 ton of rocks. Scott and 9 of his neighbors shared the rocks equally. What fraction of a ton of rocks will each person get? When we're talking about dividing fractions with word problems, what did I tell you you need to first find? Your whole and your part. We need to pay attention to what?
Whole and your part.
Those key what?
Words.
Those key details, those key words. So, what does Scott have? What did he?
1/6 ton of rock.
So, what is that going to be? The whole. Put a W above it. And then Scott and 9 of his neighbors.
That's the part.
That's the part. But can you tell me what that number is going to be? This is why it's a level 3.
10, because it's Scott and 9 of his friends.
Awesome. If you left it as 9, you need to fix it now.
That tricked me, and then I had to go back. Yeah, originally.
You're still cool. This is why we're going over it. So now I need to write it as a division problem. Do not skip to the flipping, the rearranging. Rewrite it as a division problem. Now 10, do I just leave it as a whole number? No, what do I write it as?
Put a 1 under it.
Put a 1 under it. I write it as an improper fraction, a fraction greater than 1. So now 1/6 divided by 10 over 1. What do I need to do now that it is fixed? We are ready to rock and roll.
Keep, switch, flip.
Keep, switch, flip, or what could we?
Change, rearrange.
Okay. Multiplying fractions, what do I do? Multiply
Across the top and the bottom.
straight across. And then 1 times 1 is?
1.
And then 6 times 10 is?
6.
Can I simplify?
No.
No. What's my answer?
B. 160.
1/60th time. Okay, so now that you have an idea on 4 to what to look out for, look at 5. Everybody read over it. Thumbs up when you've read over it to see if you need to change anything. All right. So Sarah had a half a pound of raisins. She and her 3 sisters shared the raisins equally. How much did each person get? How many of you did 1/2 divided by 3? You're still cool. What does it need to be now?
4.
That's right. Now, am I just going to write 4?
You have to put 4 over 1.
So while you were working this out, you should have said 1/2 was your
Whole.
and she and her 3 sisters are going to be your what? Part. So 1/2 divided by 4 over 1, I need to keep, or keep, change, multiply straight across, and you get?
180.
So y'all are good with just the solving, keep, switch, flip, keep, change, rearrange. You're good when it's just level 1's basic solve problems. What we've got to work on is what? Word problems. All right. Moving quickly. Gary had 7 yards of rope. He cut the rope into 1/3 yard pieces. How many pieces of rope did Gary have? What's my whole?
7 yards.
What's my part? So what do I write?
7 over 1 divided by 1/3.
What do I do now? And when I multiply straight across, what do I get?
21 over 1. And you divide that and you get 21.
All right, looking at 7. Naomi pours a 1/2 quart of tea evenly between 3 glasses. How much tea is in each glass? What's my whole?
1/2.
Good job. How many of you said 3? You need to pay attention to those key details. She is pouring tea into 3 different glasses. Okay, 3 is what's being separated out into. So 3 is going to be my what? Part. So now 1/2 divided by 3 over 1. So now I what?
Keep, switch, flip, or keep, change, rearrange.
That's right. Multiply straight A.
Cross.
And what do we get?
1/6.
All right. And what's going to be my answer?
A.
Ooh, what'd I forget to do on 6?
Answer it.
What's my answer going to be?
B.
Perfect. All right. What do y'all tell me? Awesome. All right. So, if you will, repeat name. Repeat name. Pass your papers forward. Pass your papers to the front. Miss Leek, do you mind picking up those papers once they pass them to the front? All right. All right, rule number 1.
Follow the
Lawrence, do you mind passing the graph paper out to everybody? And just leave that on your desk, and we'll get it. Haylin, do you mind passing out this for me? All right, classity class. I need you to pass your dividing fractions paper forward.
Just the dividing one?
Just the dividing fractions. Just leave it, and I'll give it back. All right. Rule number 1. Rule number 2.
Raise your hand for permission to speak.
Rule number 3.
Raise your hand for permission to leave your seat.
Rule number 4. Rule number 5.
Keep your teacher happy.
All right. While we are passing these out, just a reminder, you got your third 9 weeks plan. It's a tentative plan. That means things might what? Change. Right now, on Friday, we have our dividing fractions and writing and graphing inequalities test. I've said it multiple times, but you need to hear it again. Also, what's going to be due on Friday? Zern. Yesterday and Monday, what did you learn? Mean, median, mode, and range. So what do you think is going to be next week? If we learned about mean, median, mode, and range this week, what's going to be next week? What kind of test? Okay, so we will have a pop quiz on mean, median, mode, and range. You got this paper last week, so you already know what to expect. Also, next week you get progress reports. And then do not forget to go ahead and start studying those geometry formulas, because in 2 weeks you will have a pop quiz on that. You already know ahead of time what's coming. Now, your statistics snapshot, just reminding you, this is that study guide you need to be studying every day that has statistics and geometry. Okay, get it, got it? Good. So we're going to go ahead and move on with our lesson for today. I need you to make sure you have your packet out and a piece of graph paper. You can put graph paper at the back. Thank you, sir. Hands and eyes.
Laser your eyes.
All right. Hands and eyes.
Laser your eyes.
Your eyes need to be on me, and I should feel the burn. Thank you. There they are. All right. There's those pretty eyes. All right. So we are on statistics and probability. You've been seeing SP on top of your papers. It's because it stands for statistics and probability. In 6th grade, you're only going to see the statistics side of it. Once you get to 7th and 8th grade, you're going to see the probabilities. Okay. Our lesson today is interquartile range. So if you've been studying, you can tell me what kind of measure interquartile range is. What's the interquartile range? Can anybody tell me what kind of measure? See, it's the measure of center or measure of variability. Anybody can tell me? Go ahead. Perfect. Give him a 10-finger wave. Woo! Interquartile range stands for IQR. So IQR is interquartile what? Range. And our essential question today is, what are the measures of variability? You learned one of them yesterday. Who remembers the measure of variability we learned yesterday? Not Carter. I love you. Thank you. Anybody? You. Go ahead. Range. Perfect. Give her a 10-finger whoop. Woo-hoo. All right. So our 2 measures of variability that we're learning today, well, really reviewing, is range and learning about interquartile range. And tomorrow we'll learn a special strategy called a box and whisker plot. And our main vocabulary that we're paying attention to is mean, median, mode, range, and interquartile range. And you already know what to expect this week on tests. All right. So let's go over everything that we've learned this week, just real quick. Select the data set with a range of 6. What does range mean?
The middle number.
Okay, we're getting close there. So you received a lot of information on Monday and what? Tuesday. So this is why I want to go over this. At that bottom, you see 6 and 7, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It says list the measures of center. Our measures of center are mean.
Median.
All right. So mean, median, and what? Mode. Mean is when we take the what? What's another word for mean?
We take the
What does your teacher do? Find your
average
So we add them all up
and then divide by how many numbers there are.
and divide. We're just going to say add and divide because we have this written out on our notes. Median is the what?
The biggest number, their maximum minus the minimum.
All right, so that's what you got switched around, and I'm glad you're saying this, okay? So median is the exact what?
Middle number.
All right, we're driving down the highway on I-55. We got northbound, southbound. What's in the middle? The median. So what is median? The exact middle. All right, and mode means the most. Mode means the all right. Most what? Most frequent number. What's another word for frequent?
Most seen.
Okay, most often. There we go. All right. So mirror words. Measures of center. Mean. Median. Mode. Mean. Median. Mode. Measures of center. Mean, median, mode. Mirrors off. The list of the measures of variability are range and interquartile range. And I'm going to abbreviate it and put IQR. Get it? Got it? The main one I need you to remember right now that we learned yesterday is range is the greatest
Minus the least.
value minus the
Minimum.
okay, so you got it. You got it. So what did I tell you yesterday? Spread. Yep, that does. There we go. Spread does mean range. All right, difference does mean range. So okay, y'all are studying your keywords. Spread, range, difference. But how do we find it? Maximum minus minimum. So max minus min. And we're going to stop right there. Okay, we're not moving on with interquartile range. Okay, so mirror words. Range. Max minus min. Range. Max minus min. So in a little bit when mirror words. And they're off. All right, so here we go. So up at the top, I need you to keep looking back down here to remember what is range. So look at range. What is range? What am I going to do? So get out that calculator, find the maximum number for A and the minimum number, and find the difference. Do it for A, B, C, and D. And we're trying to find what? A range of? Okay, so range is max minus min. Looking at A, what's the maximum?
38. 52. Oh, the 52.
All right, the maximum is what?
52.
What's the minimum?
14.
So what do you get as your range?
38.
Is that my answer? All right, looking at B, what's my maximum?
56.
What's my minimum?
40.
And what do you get?
16.
What's my maximum?
6.
What's my minimum?
0.
And what do you get?
6.
All right, and what's my maximum?
25.
You're still cool. And what do I subtract?
23.
And what do you get?
44.
So what's my answer?
C.
Good job. All right, now on 2, what are we doing?
Finding the exact middle.
There we go. And what do you need to make sure you do?
The rainbow.
Okay, you could do the rainbow, but there we go. Mere words.
Your words.
My data set
My data set
needs to be from least to greatest.
needs to be from least to greatest.
Mirrors off.
Here's all.
Okay, get after it. Least to greatest. Thumbs up when you have it. All right. What's my first number?
10.
Next.
16. 17. 29. 43. 54.
What do you need to do every time you write a number?
Mark it out.
Why?
Because you might get mixed up and write it twice.
Okay, or there could be repeating numbers, and you might miss a repeating number, so take your time. Now, I told you can do one way for the median, you can do the rainbow, or if you come up with your own way. Here, do we have an exact middle? No, we have to find it, and the reason why we do not have an exact middle is because we have how many, or what kind of amount of numbers? Even amount of numbers. So what do I do? Okay. So add 17 and 29 together and divide by 2, and what do you get? Make sure you answer your question. All right. Find the mean of the data set. What does mean? Mean.
Add and divide.
Can y'all tell me some keywords real quick for mean? You add and divide, yeah, but that's how we do it. What's some keywords? Your teacher finds it every time.
Average.
Average, and Eli, what's the other one?
And center.
Typical and center. Okay, so average and typical. Pay attention to this typical, because this is when you will see it dealing with scenarios with temperature, because you see typical with science word problems. Get it? Got it?
Good.
All right. All right, so I add all of those up and I divide by what? How many numbers do I have?
5.
Okay. Well, when I add them up and I divide by 5, give me a thumbs up once you know. Do you only put it in one time? How many times do you need to at least put it in? 3. Go get you some water. Sorry. Go get water or you can wake up. Move quickly. It's right over there where it usually is. You better get your butt up and hurry up and get over there. Thank you, Josie. All right, so once I add it up and divide by 5, what do you get? 6.85. How do we say that?
6 and 85.
Thank you. One more time.
6 and 8,500.
Thank you. Give yourself a 10-finger woo. All right, find the mode. Mode is the what? Mode is the what?
Most. Maximum minus min. It's the most frequent.
Okay, I put this one on here because they had this on benchmark 3 last year, and I hadn't seen it like this before with a 6th grade question. It's more of a 7th grade question with mode. Do y'all see a number that's repeating?
No.
number that is.
Why? Why, Callum?
Because 2/4 is half of 4.
Oh, okay.
And that's half. And there's a half.
Okay. 2/4 is equivalent to what? 1/2. So 2/4 is equivalent to what?
1/2.
Okay, and that is something that you've learned since 3rd grade, that you have to recognize that 2/4, 4/8. Come on, give me some more equivalent ratios, equivalent fractions.
6, 12,
Okay,
24.
to infinity and? We could keep on going all day, right? Okay, so you would also see this equivalent fractions, but what did we learn at the beginning of the year? What are fractions? Also called equivalent ratios. Okay, so we are relating this back to mean, median, and mode, Dale. So we got to be careful when they're equivalent. So now that you know that, what is your mode going to be? 1/2. So what's my answer? B. So I need you to put a star by this problem so you can go back and look and remind yourself that they could set you up to trick you like this. They love to trick you, okay? And we saw that on Mastery Connect with those 5th grade problems on bell work. Okay? Look back at range. Look back at range. What does range mean?
Maximum minus min.
What's my max? What's my min? What's 12 minus 1?
11.
All right. You need to be studying mean, median, mode, and range, because this is what will be expected of you on next week's pop test. You don't know when it was going to be, but it will be sometimes next week. Get it? Got it? All right. Your paper over. What does SP stand for?
Statistics, probability.
Probability. Statistics and probability. What standard are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What number does it say? 3. It is talking about measures of center and measures of variability, but today we are only going to focus on measures of variability. And this one is going to be the second measure of variability. Yesterday we had the first measure of variability, and what was that first measure of variability? Range. So we had range yesterday, and today we're spending all day on interquartile what? Range. When you get to 7th, you're going to learn the third, and it's called MAD, and some of you have already seen it on Zern, okay? So we are focusing only today on interquartile range. Interquartile range can be abbreviated as IQR. IQR. So moving on. Quartiles divides the data into how many equal parts? What do you think quart means? 4. Good job. Quart means what? 4. Interquartile range is the difference. And what does difference mean? Okay. So is the difference between the first quartile and the third quartile. The interquartile range is a measure of variation. Instead of saying variation, what could it also say? It's a measure of variability. So underline that. And I know we've already wrote it once, but I want to make sure if you're hearing it over and over again, it's pretty what? Important. So the interquartile range can be abbreviated as IQR. The IQR represents the range of the middle half of the data. If it says half, how many parts is that? 2. Okay, but up above they just told us there's how many parts? 4, right? Okay. But what could be equivalent to 1/2 again? 2/4, okay? So if it's saying middle half, they're talking about half of the data, or they're talking about 2/4. Think about this as a percent. How much is half worth as a percent? A percent is out of what? 100. So what's half of 100?
50.
Put 50% underneath here, underneath middle half. They will say middle half, or they'll say what is the 50% of this data, the middle 50%. So what they're talking about is the middle half of the data, okay? And this is something that you'll understand later. So what are we going to write beside it?
See you later.
And then number 4 is a small interquartile range, means that the data is close together. And again, this is a see you later. You'll understand it once we get to working it. And then a large interquartile range means that the data is spread out. So have you heard me say spread before with range?
Yes.
Okay, so again, if you see the key word, it's either meaning IQR or it's meaning range. It's meaning a measure of variability. Okay, so to find IQR, we got to identify all 3 quartiles. Now there are 4 quartiles, but we really just need to technically identify only 3. Then we subtract quartile 3 from quartile 1. Now, this is leading up to the steps of interquartile range. With any data set, what do I need you to make sure you put? Your numbers. In order from what? So let's add that note. They do not have it there. We're going to add that note. So least to greatest. And how we do this, we're just going to write it down for now because it'll make sense in just a little bit. Find the median. And what does median mean? If you need to look back at the beginning on your first paper at the bottom, what did we say median meant?
Exact middle.
The exact what? Middle. It's the exact middle. Okay? And that would actually be called quartile 2. And then we'll find the median of the lower half, and that's quartile 1. And then we'll find the median of the, instead of lower, what do you think we're going to say?
Higher.
The upper half of the data set, and that's quartile 3. And we'll subtract quartile 1 from quartile 3. Now, I know a lot of that sounded like blah, 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 blah. I sound like the Peanuts teacher, don't I? Or the mom. It's going to make more sense, and this is why we're taking it slow today. Get it? Got it? Okay. Now, I heard somebody say, I thought median was a measure of center. Median is a measure of what? Center. We use median to help us find the interquartile range. But in the end, interquartile range is not a measure of center. What is interquartile range a measure of? Variability. And I can understand why this can get what? And this is why you need to be what? Studying. All right, so this is why I need you to have that graph paper out, because we do not have enough room to be working on these pieces of paper, because I know a lot of you like to write what? Big. I need you to take this data set listed here, and please make sure it's listed from least to greatest. Okay? I do.
We do.
All right, so on the guided practice, it says identify quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you we're going to identify all the what? Quartiles, because what does quartiles mean? How many quartiles would we have? 4, right? Okay. So looking at my steps, we first need to find the what? Median. How do I find the median? How do I find the exact middle? We can do a rainbow, that's fine. Or you can work from the outside in, your choice. And do I have an exact middle? Yes, because my data set is not even. What is it? Odd. Okay. And I want you to put a line right there on 15, just like that. And what does it say I need to label my median as? And instead of writing out quartile 2, we're just going to write Q what? 2. So what I've done with this data set is I've split it in half. I have a lower half, and you won't have to write this every single time, but we are on our first problem. I have a lower half. I do.
We do.
And then the right side of the data is going to be the upper half. So step 2 says find the median of the lower half. Find the median of the lower half. What numbers are in the lower half?
10, 12.
And 12. So 10, 12, and 15 is not in the lower half. That is the middle, and that's how we split the what? That's how we split our data, okay? So 10, 12, and 12. I need to find the median of the lower half. Well, you could easily see, because we have a small amount of numbers, we can easily see what the median is here. What's the median?
12.
Which 12?
The middle one.
The one that is the first 12, right? And what does it say we need to label the median of the lower half?
Q1.
Q1, what does Q1 stand for?
Quartile 1.
Now, raise your hand if you can find the median of the upper half. Okay. Jojo, how'd you find it? You just know it's in the middle? Okay. I need to look at the upper half, looking at that right side. And what's the numbers that include that upper half?
16, 19, 20.
So 16, 19, and 20. And what's in the middle?
19.
And what do you think I'm going to label it? Quartile 3. Q3. And that is what you're expected to learn today. This, being able to label what is Q1, what is Q2, and what is Q3. Now, Q4 is going to be at the end of your data, because that is how it's going to be split. And you're going to see this a little bit better tomorrow when we're dealing with box and whisker plots. You're going to be able to see the 4 what? Quartiles. Okay? Now today, all I need you to do is identify what is Q1, what is Q2, what is Q3. Okay? So back on this paper, what is Q1 going to be? 12. What is Q2 going to be? What is Q3 going to be? And now, have I found the interquartile range yet? No. What does interquartile range mean? What do we have to find?
The difference between the first quartile and the third quartile.
Okay. Subtract Q1 from Q3. So what I'm going to do is go 19. Where did I get 19 from?
Quartile 3.
Minus 12. And what do I get? 7. So my IQR is 7. So this is not hard, but it's a lot to do. A lot of steps just to find the interquartile what? Range. So we are going to just keep on practicing today. And that's all that we're doing is practicing interquartile range, okay? So that was our lesson for today. Now, let's do it again. You are going to use this scratch piece of paper. And are you going to throw this paper away? No, we'll staple it to the back. So we're just going to keep on working. And then we have 2 minutes till recess. When you come back from recess, you're going to be doing this on your own. And then we'll review. Get it? Got it? Okay. So looking at number 1, label your paper number 1. Because up above is just an example. What do you need to do? Go look back at your steps on the left side at number 8.
You need to find 4 tall ones. You need to put them least to greatest.
Okay, so first we need to put it from least to greatest. Now I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Can my people in the back see it okay? I'm going to write big. Okay. All right, so from least to greatest, what am I going to put first? 4. What next? What next?
16, 17, 20, 90, 96.
I do.
We do.
We're not being frogs on a log. I do.
We do.
Looking back at my notes, step 1 says find the median of the entire data set. Okay, so let's find the median. What do I need to do? Rainbow. And what's my median?
17, which is Q2. Or no, yes, it's Q2.
And it says on step 1, this is Q2. Do not be afraid to refer back to this. Okay, my next thing that I'm going to do is realize that my lower half, what's the numbers in my lower half?
4, 14, 16.
What's the median?
14.
And label it what?
Q1.
And then I have my what? Half. What's my median?
90.
Q3.
Go back to my paper and let's write down the numbers that are Q1, Q2, and Q3. What's Q1?
14,
Q2, Q3.
90.
Am I done yet? No, all I did was identify Q1, Q2, and Q3. But how do I find the IQR?
Subtract
14 minus
90 minus 14.
Okay, say it one more time, everybody.
90 minus 14.
Good job. And then once you have that, can you give me a thumbs up what 90 minus 14 is? What is it?
76.
Good job. Okay, so if you're at home watching this, you can stop the video here and you can finish up these problems, and you will see in just a little bit the answers to the rest of your problems. So make sure you stop before you continue. Okay, so this is how you should have put it from least to greatest. I believe, let me count on my paper from before how many numbers we're supposed to have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do I have 9 numbers up here? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm good to go. That's just one way for me to make sure I did write down all my numbers, okay? So I'll put my data set from least to greatest. Now I need to find the median. Oh no. Do I have an exact median here? Yeah, because it's odd number. So my middle one is Q2, and what's that Q2 going to be?
7.
Good. Now what's my middle one here?
50 and 55.
So what do we do?
You have to add it and divide it by 2.
Make that plus sign to remind you, hey, I need to add it together and divide by 2. And what do I get?
52.5.
And what does that represent?
Q1.
That's how we would write it. It's okay.
70.
It's okay, you're still cool. All right, and then my upper half of the data, 70, 120, 130, and 145. What happens?
120, 130.
So you gotta add it and then divide it.
And what do you get?
125.
Okay, but what is 125 called?
Q3.
So all I do is take all this data and go write it on this piece of paper that Q1 is going to be Q2 is going to be,
70.
and then Q3 is going to be,
125.
and did I find my interquartile range yet?
No.
125 minus 52.5, and what do you get?
76.
We're going to skip over 3 for right now, okay? Because I don't want to overwhelm you with decimals. It's not hard. If you've already started on it, it's fine. You can come back to it later. So we're just going to skip over 3 right now. So now, looking at 4, put them from least to greatest. This one's going to be fun because they're mostly in the 70s. All right, so 45,
65.
71.
70. It's at the very beginning.
Oh. And then
71.
76. Or no, 73. And 76.
how many times?
Twice.
And then
And then 77.
then 78 and 80. Okay. Does everybody understand how to put them from least to greatest? Okay. Does everybody understand that you are able right now to look back at your notes and guide you through these steps so you don't get over? I told you, you're going to get overwhelmed with statistics because it's a lot of stuff to what? Remember. Okay? Is it hard stuff?
No.
No. But it's just a lot, right? Okay. Don't get overwhelmed. Keep looking at these what? Notes. They're going to be your very best friend. Okay. First, find my median by doing the rainbow. And here I run into a problem of I do not have an exact middle. My exact middle is somewhere in between 73 and 76. What is in between 73 and 76? How do I find that? 73 plus 76 divided by 2. Did I mess up?
Yeah, because I got an exact.
Uh-huh.
I got 73.
Woo! I knew. All right, let me try again. When it gets to longer data sets, it's easy to make simple. Ah. Yep, that's what got me. There we go.
You missed 77.
73 is my middle. Oh, so 73 is Q what? 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side. Okay, so we're good now. All right. Outside in. Yeah. See, when you got a bunch of numbers, going from the outside in might be a little bit what? Easier. Okay. So, moving on. 73 is quartile 2. Does everybody understand how to get quartile 2? Now, look at my lower half. What's the numbers in my lower half?
45, 65, 70, 71, 72.
Okay. What's the middle of them?
70.
Okay. Looking at my next one, what's the middle?
76.
Now I just go write down all of my quartiles on my paper. Okay. So my quartile 1 is going to be what? My quartile 2 is going to be what? My quartile 3 is going to be what? And then to find my IQR, I'm going to do 77 minus 70, and you get? Okay. So, if you look on the back side of this paper, it's all practice on interquartile. You need to look back at your notes and do it from least to greatest. Find the median. You got your lower half, find the median. You got your upper half, find the median. Label all your Q1s, Q2s, and Q3s. And then find your IQR. That's what you're going to be doing on these papers when you come back from recess. When we come back from what?
Recess.
What we don't finish going over today and what we don't finish doing today is going to be for what?
Homework.
Do you understand why we need to go ahead and start having homework on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is going to be a practice thing. Get it? Got it?
Good.
All right. So everybody say bye to the video.
Bye.
And I hope y'all have a great day. And if you will, just look over these, get these done, and I'll check these when you get back if you were absent. All right. Adios.